There he is.
Hey, welcome everybody to the K&B Music Den. I'm Brad.
And I'm Keith.
Perfect. How you doing, Keith?
Pretty good. I just realized I did not shut the door. So as you do the first few seconds here, I will shut it so the dogs don't interrupt. But go ahead and tell the folks what we're doing.
Hey, well, today, everyone, as you see as long as he does this right, he should have the description, what we're doing. We'll find out. But today, I'm excited because we are doing the Queens of the Stone Age new album, In Times New Roman.
Yes.
Isn't that correct? So, as Keith knows, what was it, about 3 weeks ago, I came to you and said, hey, I became obsessed with this band.
Yep.
Which was lovely because it's always fun as a music lover to stumble on. There's so much music that you're not going to hear everything and find every band. So it's fun when you find a great band like Queens and just get to ride the wave back with them.
Yeah.
So just kind of to show where I've been since then, I got the first album.
Oh, I'm not familiar with that cover.
Yeah, that's an old school version of the vinyl with a different
track. Yeah.
I got Rated R.
Okay.
The updated version.
Yep.
Era Vulgaris.
Yes.
Got that.
Yep.
Like Clockwork.
Yes.
Got that, buddy. We got Villains on vinyl.
Yep.
And today, what we'll be discussing, In Times New Roman.
He's got it on vinyl already.
Gotta have it on vinyl already. He got it delivered the day it came out. There's the inside. Kind of give you an idea.
Yeah, that's
what was cool on the bottom here. I can't see if you can see that or not. On that artwork, it shows you this is actually part of the trilogy.
Oh, Villains, I just saw that. Yeah,
Like Clockwork and In Times New Roman are all part of a 3-album set that I didn't know was part of the project until kind of stumbling upon that.
I didn't either.
Yeah. So I mean, it's fascinating.
That is cool.
I've been obsessing with this band now for like the last month.
We all know now.
Yeah, we'll just toss this right to you and see. You've had a little more experience with them. What's your thoughts on this album?
Well, I think it's, I think they're one of those bands like the Foo Fighters, like we talked about recently, where you're going to get quality. It's kind of splitting hairs almost to rank the albums or talk about them and compare them because it's just another solid Queens of the Stone Age album. And this one is no different. Did not disappoint one iota, in my opinion. I'm really interested to hear your thoughts coming up too and kind of how you would kind of put it in. I know we didn't do the ranking yet and we will, so maybe we don't want to get too much into that. But I know for me, and maybe we can talk about this too, one of the points that I wanted to make with this video and this review, this is a band that doesn't feel the need to put out an album every year.
No.
And I think personally, my view is that I think it really helps with quality control, as I'll call it.
Certainly.
Because you're not always getting necessarily just their next songs. You're getting their best songs.
Yeah.
If you understand what I mean by that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I think this was a home run for them as expected and as usual. You're more in depth and well versed in their catalog at this moment because you've been obsessed recently. I know all their stuff. I've heard all their stuff. I think the only two. What was I telling you? The only two I had on physical format was the self-titled on CD and Songs for the Deaf. Yeah. Which Songs for the Deaf? It doesn't look like you have that one yet.
I don't have that one or Lullaby to Paralyze. So
yeah,
we'll see. I think my record shop's figuring me out because each time I go back in, there's a new one that I don't have.
Yeah.
So I think they're figuring out that I'm trying to stock up. So
yeah,
hopefully they'll have them next time I walk in. So we'll see.
Are you? Can you hear my dogs? By the way, did you hear that?
No.
Okay.
Can you hear I got a girl up here screaming. You don't hear that either?
No. He's got a girl up there screaming.
Our listeners are missing out on all this fun that we have.
I know. Oh, it makes me feel good about the technology reason.
Yep.
But yeah, I'll tell you what, to answer your question, without getting into all the weeds yet, which we'll do as we roll along here. But I loved it. I mean, I think it's a great album, and like I said, just the fact that they don't feel the need to pump out an album every year or even every 2 years.
Yeah.
I mean, Villains was what, 2017, I think?
Yeah, it's been 5 years, I think. 5 or 6, yeah.
It's been 5 or 6 years. But, they remind me honestly of a band. I'll kind of make an analogy in a way, a band like Counting Crows.
Yeah.
They make those fuckers make you wait for years for an album,
Yeah.
and then they put it out, and you're like, okay, well, it was worth the wait. I'll wait for that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, let's turn it over to you. And what are your thoughts? Since you're just really in the thick of it with these guys right now, rediscovering their back catalog, and then they drop this brand new one on your face. What do you think?
Well, that's the perfect way to put it. Is before I knew this was even coming out, I became obsessed with the band. I found a couple songs.
Yeah.
So it was just wonderful timing that a new album was coming out while I was going through this. For me, the one thing I'm learning about Josh Homme, who's an absolute fantastic vocalist, great guitar player.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a fantastic frontman in general.
Yeah.
But he is very much like you mentioned Foo Fighters earlier. This album is very cathartic. It's very much touching on a lot of things for him. He had that very public split with what's her name? I'm going to forget her name. Dally. She's the lead singer for the and I'm going to forget that now too. Well, his wife at the time was the lead singer for the Stillers, I think.
I don't follow that part of it yet.
A lot of stuff going on where he had some issues with custody battles and a lot of stuff going on, and then he's losing a lot of friends. He loses Mark Lanigan, who died and was previously in the band. Mark Lanigan band, fantastic. Yeah. But he loses Mark Lanigan. He loses a couple other friends that. Bourdain, Anthony Bourdain was a good friend of his. I mean, and then he comes to find out he has cancer on top of that. So he had to get surgery to have.
I didn't know any of this.
Yeah, so I mean, he's had quite a spell for these 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
So when it comes time to make the album, the lyrics are very poignant. They're very on touch. They're on. This is kind of a therapy. I think it's a therapy with a guitar for him.
Yeah. Wow. See,
yeah,
that's interesting because I didn't know. Pardon my ignorance, folks, but I didn't know any of that. So kind of some of it makes a lot more sense now immediately. And now that you say that, but now I know you love to highlight lyrics. I have one here that I want to highlight, and you may have other ones. I'm not sure, but I'm just reading this, obviously. But this is from Carnivore.
Great song.
Great song. And he sings, "Free fall from the nest, then glide to the left. A shine catch the eye, so float to the right. Flying high, realize there are no more mountains to climb."
And that kind of goes to speak on all those things he's been going through.
It makes more sense to me now.
The light at the end of the tunnel there. So I mean, that makes perfect sense. I mean, I found about 7 or 8 of these songs were just standouts to me. There were a few songs I had some questions on, and I think, and I'm going to bring it up to the fact that if you look, this album was actually produced by Queens of the Stone Age.
Okay.
And I think a few of the songs might have struggled sound-wise with that. Not this actual song structure, not the lyrics, but just some of these sounds I was hearing, like on Obscenery, for example, sound a little cluttered, a little mixed. And that was the first song I heard. It made me a little nervous when I first heard that because I was struggling with that one bit, but I'm wondering if it's not maybe some of the production that was causing some of the issues on that for me. But some of the other stuff was crisp and clean. I mean, Paper Mache is a favorite of mine. That, again, is going to go back to his custody battles, a lot of stuff with his relationship. If you go back and listen to that with open ears, you can hear some frustration with that one. Negative Space, another fantastic track.
Oh, yeah.
Fantastic track.
Yeah.
But what I will say, a lot different than what we've been hearing with a lot of albums. What have we said about this year with albums in general? You know where I'm going with this.
You're going with this, the side A, the front-loaded album.
And this one is not. I think this one is a side B album. I feel like, and not to say the side A is bad.
Yeah.
But this thing seems to pick up momentum and steam as it goes. I mean, on that second side, B side, you're looking at Carnivore, What the People Say, Sicily, Emotion Sickness, and Straight Jacket Fitting. I mean, that is a strong side B. I mean, their first 2 singles came from side B on this.
They did.
Yeah.
And I would go so far as to argue it's not even so much a side B album as opposed to a side A album. I think it's we're getting much more of a solid album throughout.
I would say that too. Yeah.
With these guys, than more so than we have with other artists this year. But something else I wanted to bring up, I'm sure you noticed this too, and this is a kind of a signature of their sound throughout their career, so it's no surprise. But what's something I love about one of the many things I love about this great band, Queens of the Stone Age, is they are not afraid to have space in their songs.
Exactly.
There are songs that start out with just that crunchy guitar riff, and then it's just the drums, and then sometimes it's just the guitar and him singing for like almost a minute into it before you even hear any other instruments. They really know how to build a song and use dynamics and not be afraid of, not everyone in the band has to be playing at every moment of every song. And I think that's extremely effective. It's kind of been a signature of their sound all along, but I think it's really highlighted on this album.
Oh yeah, I agree with you. They're not afraid to have some space in there, which is nice. So, I know exactly where you're coming from with that.
Yeah. And, we talked about the lyrics and how I think a band like this, something else I wanted to mention, the music is so compelling and it grabs you that I think sometimes the lyrics are overlooked a bit.
Oh, big time.
With a band like this. And that's a shame because they are great lyrics.
He's a fantastic lyricist. So, I mean, I mean, you hear the song, you fall into the groove of it, you listen to the musicianship, they're fantastic musicians. And then when you go back and like a couple of these videos have music videos with the lyrics in them. Okay. And as you're watching them and you're reading the lyrics, you go, oh man, like even like with an Emotion Sickness when he's going through the chorus of, baby don't care for me, so I had to let her go kind of thing. It's you don't even pick you don't hear it quite as well, but yeah, lyrically just fantastic.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, and I how when we reviewed Jason Isbell's new album Weather Vanes, which folks, if you haven't seen it, check it out, please. You know how I talked about albums and having peaks and valleys?
Yes.
And I said, maybe on the next one, if he did it, whether it's a solo album or a 400-unit album, what if he just had a song where it was just like a simple straight piano and he just sang the shit out of a great lyric, and it would show me those dynamics and the peaks and valleys within an album.
Sure.
Now this band, Queens of the Stone Age, they're not a peaks and valleys band for me. They're just
really.
What I mean is they don't need to be, because they just rock. You know what I mean? They do what they do. Now the peaks and valleys, so to speak, could just be in those songs where I said where there's spaces and they leave space dynamically and stuff. That's enough peaks and valleys for me with a band like this, because they're just a straight up. They've been called garage rock, biker bar band rock kind of thing. You just, I don't know, like when I listen to a Queens of the Stone Age album, and I'm sitting at my house, I feel like I'm wrong for not having a leather jacket on. You know what I mean? In a good way.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
And I agree. Now, I will say, and you guys are going to find out, we're going to do a ranking album probably in the next week or two on all their music. When you start listening through again, I'm telling you, there's songs like Vampire of Time and Memory off of Like Clockwork, which is home and a piano, and it's going to shock you. I mean, you probably heard it, but it's going to, now that you're thinking about it, it's so subtle and just an emotional, just piano piece. So they're there. I mean, they definitely have
they have them in their catalog. Yeah. But this album, didn't really require a moment like that for me. It was just, I knew before I even started listening to this album, I knew I was going to love it. I knew it was going to be quality. I knew they were going to deliver because it's who they are.
Yeah. I mean, Josh is probably at this point one of the most consistent musicians. I mean, like you said, you don't have to worry about what you're going to get.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, well, speaking of that, another thing that I wrote down here that you just pretty much touched upon, you know what you're going to get with these guys. You're going to get the crunchy guitars. You're going to get the straight ahead rhythm section. You're going to get Josh Homme's what I call biker bar croon.
Yep.
And then, I did want to mention, I didn't take the time. Maybe you'll see it on one of your albums. You can look real quick while I'm saying this and help me out. But, the name of the bass player I didn't write down, and I apologize for that, being a bass player myself for many years. But throughout this album, I think the bass is really fantastic, and I think it's underrated and underappreciated because all we ever hear about is Josh Homme. But especially if you wanted to particularly hear what I'm talking about, I would point you to the song "Emotion Sickness" in particular.
Mhm.
How the bass is just fucking fantastic. So I didn't write the guy's
Yeah.
name. I apologize.
Yeah, I'd have to go back and look because the lineup's changed once or twice, so I want to make sure it's got the right
That's
guy here.
yeah. I didn't want to. Actually, I want to make sure I didn't get it wrong either. But you know who you are, Mr. Bass Player.
Yeah, yeah,
But yeah, man. But I thought yeah, it's just one of those
yeah.
bands, man. Just
Again, this falls right into their catalog. I think it's another fitting piece.
yeah, yeah. And I
And I'll
know.
be seeing them in August.
Oh, you are? Did you get tickets?
Yeah, I'm getting tickets.
Really?
So the girlfriend's not a big fan of heavy music. So if you end up bored, got a ticket, you can join right
Hey,
in.
man. I'll check my calendar. I'd love to go.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I'm surprised you haven't even had any money left for tickets now that you got all their albums.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, what a great band. I mean, just
Oh,
so consistent. Um, yeah, well, folks, let us know what you think of the new Queens of the Stone Age. It's called In Times New Roman.
mhm.
Let us know what you think about how long they take between albums. When the albums are great, I don't mind at all.
No.
And not to say that artists that put out a lot of work, like Ryan Adams, for example, not to say that there's weak albums because of that with
Mhm.
those artists, because that's just how they do it and they just pump them out. But especially now, you filled me in more about what's been going on in his personal
Oh
life
yeah. Been
lately.
a
I
lot.
mean, it makes sense if this one took a while, and man,
Yeah.
like I said, they delivered. So,
Yeah.
um, but as always, for Brad, I'm Keith. This is the KMB Music Den. Please like this video, share it on social media, subscribe to the channel, and smash the bell for notifications. We've got, man, every week they keep coming, Brad. Just
They're flying.
there's so many this week that we don't even
You
have
can't get to them
time
all. Mm-mm.
to and we might have some reviews coming out later this week. We do them like solo, just
Yeah.
because there's so many that came
Just
out.
trying to
Deer
catch them.
Tick, yeah, Deer Tick, Sunvolt. There was another one I pointed out to you.
Yeah.
But
King Gizzard and Lizard Wizard.
yeah, King Gizzard. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
of course it's been a month, so they have a new album out.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we want to try and get to some of those too if we can. But we try and be timely about it too. So, but yeah, let us know what you think of the new Queens of the Stone Age, and drop your comments in. Thank you so much for supporting the channel, folks. We are coming up on our 1 year anniversary, so we'll have a special video for that too. We've been doing this for a whole year. It kind of flew by fast, and yeah, we're really just so happy to where we are with the channel, and just Brad, as you can see, we're getting a lot more people interacting and commenting and requesting, hey, can you guys review this? I mean, this is what I always wanted this channel to turn into, and it took us less
Yeah.
than a year. So hats off to you.
Oh, we listen too, man. When we see these reviews, they say, "Hey, listen to this band." I listen to them, so
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like when we point out a band, like, hey, don't forget about that cool '90s band, or whatever. And then people type in like, hey, I checked that out. That's really cool stuff. Thanks. And that's the whole friggin' point.
Yep.
So yeah, sharing a love of music. So
Yep, absolutely.
All right, guys, we'll see you with more stuff real soon, and take care. Bye bye.